3,000 bucks. I thought there was more in here.
No, that's $3,000.
Well, I guess that's not a lot in today's day and age, but what happens if you need a car but only have 3 grand? Well, you might be thinking for that kind of money, you're gonna have to get a clunker for your future. But I bet you'll be surprised that we came up with 13 ideal choices for only 3,000 bucks or less. And one of the cars is so ideal that the Ideal team has collectively owned 10 of them. Buckle up and let's go. Let's start off this list with one of the best forgotten sports cars ever, the Toyota Celica GTS. And of course, if any of these Ideal cars intrigue you, well, we'll link to our favorites on Auto Tempest down in the description. That's right, Toyota made a great sports car that can be had for nearly nothing. And since it's a Toyota, you know that they were built to last hundreds of thousands of miles. But to build a sports car, Toyota needed to do a whole hell of a lot more than just make another reliable car and put a racy looking body on it. The perky 1.8 liter 2ZZ GE engine revs all the way up to a 7,800 RPM redline, which makes it super fun to plant your foot down and row the gears. In fact, Lotus loved it so much that they even threw it in their Elise and Exige models. Or is love like this nowadays? I don't know, I'm a zoomer. And it seems like Lotus might have had a little influence on the Celica because the Celica GTS handles like a Lotus too. But at the end of the day, the Celica GTS is more than just a sports car. It's a Toyota, it's reliable, cheap, and easy to modify. It might just be the ideal cheap car. And if you close your eyes and you hold onto that shifter, it kind of feels like a Ferrari. But for 3 grand, you might be hard pressed to find one. So take some advice from me. Go ahead and click up here and sign up for a free workshop teaching you how to buy Ideal cars for less and sell them for more. Then go ahead and take a look at this nice example of this 2000 Toyota Celica GTS. And yes, they are asking more than 3,000 bucks, but using what you just learned in the Ideal Car Strategies free workshop, you're gonna be able to find a deal and get it for under 3K. So, great first car on our list, but we got a bunch more coming. And while we're on the topic of Toyota, why don't we stick with them with another sports car disguised as an economy car? Yes, look no further than the Scion TC. Like the Celica GTS, the Scion TC is a front-wheel drive 2-door hatchback. The TC is light and torquey, which gives it an exciting feel behind the wheel. And you don't need to make sacrifices at the pump, as the TC gets decent gas mileage and the oh-so-sweet Toyota reliability. Scion was Toyota's youthful brand aimed at younger buyers, more hip and trendy than the typical Toyota customer, and the TC was all of that, as it was more youthful than a Camry, more reliable than a Golf, and more practical than a Mini. But the best part about the TC was its price. It was cheap, and our friend depreciation has made them even cheaper. As of today, you can pick them up all over the place for less than 3K. And plus, they come in manual too, which you can have a manual shirt up here. So, what's not to like? Maybe it's just not fancy enough for you? Well, what about a Bimmer? How about an E46 3 Series? Does that sound good? Regardless of your budget, the BMW E46 is one of the best options out there, as you can find clapped out junkers next to nothing, all the way up to the pristine E46 M3 comp package, which yes, your boy owned a couple of them. The E46 3 Series is one of the most versatile ranges of cars ever. You want a sedan? Sure. A coupe? You bet. A convertible? Let's go topless. They even come in wagon form to suit all your needs. And they come in a variety of trims and engines, from stripped down Econoboxes clear up to the Autobahn status Speed Demons. Unfortunately, you can't buy all of them in our budget, but you can still get a range of E46s for under 3 grand. Sure, the repairs, they're gonna be a little bit more costly and tedious, but it is the perfect car for a new car enthusiast. From drifting to canyon carving, the E46 is a solid choice thanks to a well-balanced chassis paired with a huge aftermarket community. Here at Ideal, the E46 has been, well, a staple, no matter the budget, as we've owned over 10 of them over the years. And you can find examples with automatic transmissions for under 3K pretty much all day. Or if you're willing to negotiate a little like a pro, you might be able to scoop up a manual for your budget as well. Regardless of which E46 you choose, you will not be disappointed. But what if you just want more space and the cramped 3 Series just won't do it? Well, we think that BMW was perfect in the late 90s and early 2000s, and so if you want a little more room than the 3 Series, why don't you check out an E39 5 Series? Yes, we love the E46 3 Series, it is no secret. But the E39 5 Series might be just as good. Built in the same era as the E46 3 Series, the E39 follows a similar formula. They took what worked and perfected it. So, what's the difference from the E46? Well, for starters, it's bigger than the E46, but it's only offered in sedan and wagon form. So that means no E39 coupes or convertibles. Well, maybe not from the factory, but in our mind, the sedan and the wagon still suffice. Everyone knows just how good the E39 M5 is. We've owned 2 of those. But other cars in the 5 Series range just don't get the love that they deserve. They share the same awesome chassis, and most of them offer a similar driving experience to their more powerful M trim, because most are powered by reliable engines that pack a solid punch. Just as tempting as it might be, avoid the M62 V8 engine at all costs. It may be tempting, but, well, just look at this 530i, one of the higher trim models. And that's coming in right around our budget. And if you were to ask me, I would never expect that to be a $3,000 car. But say the E39, it isn't cutting it, and you need even more space. What you gonna do? Well, I'd look at a Lexus RX 300. The RX 300 is the result of top-notch engineering that pushes these SUVs way past 100, 200, 300,000 miles with routine maintenance. The RX 300 comes with a V6 set for a sports car and an interior fit for Mercedes. Hop in a high-mileage example and you'll still think it's brand spanking new, aside from the super dated infotainment. There's something about the way the RX 300 just comes together, and that's why there are still so many of them on the road today. The all-wheel drive provides confidence in the rain and snow, which makes it perfect for so many situations. So with all of that luxury, I bet you're thinking it'll be way out of your budget, but guess what? You'd be wrong, because you can pick them up for right around $3,000. And because they are so reliable, they're a Toyota. High mileage examples can be had for even less. So while the RX 300 might get you many miles down the road, the second you turn off of it, you might be a little bit screwed, unless you get yourself a Nissan Xterra. Now, unlike the RX 300, the Nissan Xterra is rugged and ready to tackle tough terrain. Off the beaten path, the Xterra's 4-wheel drive system keeps all the wheels crawling for grip, even in the toughest conditions. And yes, while it might be cheap and great at off-roading, it does make some compromises. Mainly when it comes to the interior. It's not all that luxurious, but hey, it's very durable. The V6 might not be the most powerful either, but it was built to last, and if anything breaks, it's easy as Legos to fix. So if you gotta find that perfect spot off the beaten path, the Xterra might be the perfect choice, and you can pick them up for under the $3,000 budget. And the nice thing is that you can find them fairly low miles as well. You might enjoy the practicality of a big SUV, but don't want the downside that comes with a big SUV. Well, Subaru thinks that they have the answer to your dilemma with the Forester. The Forester is the jack of all trades. It's got the practicality of a wagon, drivability of a car, and most of the capabilities of an SUV. And while the Forester might not be a luxury car, the leather-lined interior will provide a decently comfortable space during long road trips or quick jaunts around town. And while it might not be the most powerful, the EJ motor is, well, truthfully not our favorite, but at least they're plentiful and parts aren't expensive if something does go wrong. From the WRX to the Outbacks, the EJ is the beating heart in millions of cars all across the world. The jack of all trades Forester is cheap too, and many of them can be had at right or under our budget. Plus, the all-wheel drive of the Forester makes it a great winter car, but it might not be the best on back roads. If you still want a practical car that's fun in the twisties, then the Infiniti G35 sedan might just be your golden ticket. The G35 is a solid choice for any sedan buyer. It's sporty, reliable, and relatively good on gas. Oh, and I forgot to mention, luxurious. Let me ask a question. What makes a Subaru WRX so good? What? It's both sporty and practical. Well, so is the G35. But unlike the Subaru, the interior of the G35 is lined in supple leather and is overall way more premium. And once you romp on the throttle, you're gonna throw your passengers and yourself into the seats because the VQ35 that powers the G35 is a beast. I know that we've all heard the VQ before, and maybe it was in another car? The 350Z. The truth is that both the 350 and the G35 share the same underpinnings. So, everything that makes the 350 so good makes the G35 that good too. But one thing that the G35 doesn't share with the 350Z is the used market price tag. Today, 350s are going for absurd money. Luckily, the same isn't true about the G35, and you can find examples like this for just $2,900. That is a lot of car for the money, if you ask me. But not everyone is into sporty cars. So what if you want an extremely reliable car and you like the luxury of the G35, but you want the ride quality, well, up a notch? And look no further than the Lexus ES300. Sure, it's not as exciting as some of the cars that were mentioned earlier, but not everyone wants that. Some people just want a well-made car that will get them from point A to point Z, or B. And Lexus capitalized on that with the ES300. Many can be found with under 200,000 miles, but once you hit that 200K, you've just passed the ES300's break-in period. And while they're just starting to age, it's a luxury car that stands the test of time. There's just something about its simplistic design, its function over form mentality that makes the ES300 just so good. Owners have almost no complaints after more than 20 years of ownership and hundreds of thousands of miles of abuse. Most owners hold on to them, but a few let them go for just under $3,000. With less than 120,000 miles, this ES300 might be the best value for your dollar on this list. But what if you don't want the poshness that comes with Lexus? Well, Toyota has got the answer within the Toyota Camry. Okay, come here. I'll let you in on a little secret. The Camry is kind of the same car as the Lexus, it just carries around less sophistication. The Lexus was only offered with a big boy 6-cylinder, but with the Camry, that engine was optional and a smaller inline 4-cylinder was standard. The 4-cylinder gave the Camry better fuel economy than the thirsty 6-pot. But whichever one you choose, you will not be disappointed, as both are reliability royalty. And for about the same price as the Lexus, you can whip the Camry right past plenty of gas stations before your next fill up. But if MPGs aren't your top priority and fun is, then the Ford Focus SVT might be for you. I'm sure that you've heard of the Chevy Cobalt SS and the Dodge Neon SRT4. But did you know that Ford made a competitor back in the early 2000s too? Way before even the Focus ST, Ford had an American entrant in the hot hatch game, and they called it the Ford Focus SVT. Which hocus pocus, it was essentially a beefed up Focus. More power, stiffer suspension, and a racier looking kit made the Ford Focus SVT something special. SVT, or the Special Vehicles Team, are the people responsible for the Savage Ford GT. Yes, you know, the early 2000s version. And the rebellious Ford Lightning, also the one that Brian O'Connor drove. So Ford took stock Focuses and upgraded them. And I bet you're expecting a high price tag, but it's actually the cheapest car on our list. You can pick them up from around 2,000 bucks. And I know some of you just don't like the thought of driving an American car and you'd rather have a German one that's practical, reliable, and economical. Well, that sounds like you're playing golf today, baby, with the Volkswagen Golf. The Golf is the perfect choice if you want a set of wheels, one without too many frills or problems, and I can understand some of the people just want precision German engineering. If that's you, then a Volkswagen Golf will get the job done on and off the course. It's gonna get you from T-box to green every single time and last hundreds of thousands of swings or miles without skipping a beat. If you take care of it, of course. Sure, that orange light will stay on, but there's a quick and easy fix for that. With that stress out of the way and some simple routine maintenance, Golfs will putt way past every other car on the road, you know, and score a birdie with your budget because they can be scooped up for under par. Sorry, dad jokes are bad today. And if you drive it far enough, you might even be able to score a hole-in-one.
Oh no.
Now, while the Golf might not be all that exciting in stock form, the Acura TL might just be the opposite. You see, the Acura TL is Acura's attempt to make a sedan that isn't dull, boring, or bland. Are they talking about me? And the result is a perfect blend of sportiness and reliability. It's exactly what you want with nothing more. Acura paired a punchy V6 to a robust chassis that pairs sport and comfort together. Sure, you could bag on it for being front-wheel drive, but its beefy V6 will gap most cars of its age on the road today. And the best part is how it can be civilized in town, yet sporty on the back roads. The TL might just be the perfect car for someone with $3,000 in their pocket. They are trading hands for a bit more than $3,000, but if you learn how to negotiate like a pro, I think you can get it for your budget. Okay, that is the idealist for the best cars under $3K. Which ones are you shelling out cash for? For us, the idealist on this idealist is gonna be the E46. Let us know if we missed anything in the comments below. Check out some other idealist videos up here or what YouTube recommends you watch down here. I'm Brad, this is Ideal, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.